I recently did a video about the best medals of 2019, and I did a recap video of all my races of last year, but I want to look back one more time at what the best races were and my favorite moments in running in 2019. I also asked my friends Meredith Rice and Jen what their favorites were. They shared their medals with us in my best medals video, and now they're going to share their favorite memories of 2019. Now there's no point to build this up to what the best race was for me, because if you've watched my videos last year, then you probably know, so we'll just start with that. The Big 5 Marathon in South Africa. The race was as beautiful as it was tough. The surroundings of the race, the views, everything was just perfect. It was hands down my favorite race last year. But not just the race was amazing, the whole stay at Entebbe with the safaris, driving around to spot some really beautiful animals, hanging out with the fellow runners at the lodge and getting to know new people and sharing these experiences with them. My close encounter with the huge elephant that got a little too close and personal, and that was just the beginning of our trip before we even went to Kruger Park or down to Cape Town for some sightseeing. The whole trip was just amazing. My favorite running item in 2019 were my Stocks compression socks. I did a video review about them in the beginning of the year, and it was very hard for me to tell the difference in wearing them, and I kept using them under the assumption that they were doing something for me. It wasn't until a lot later, after using them for a longer period of time and having to deal with injuries, having to do longer runs, that I could actually feel a big difference when I was using my compression socks. So yeah, they were my favorite item of last year. My favorite Disney race of 2019. Well, I didn't have that many races to pick from, seeing that I only ran the 3 races at Disneyland Paris, but my favorite Disney race was the half marathon. I just love the course of the half marathon, inside but also outside the parks. And the runners spread out a lot quicker, so it's not as congested as it is for the 5K or the 10K. So I just really enjoyed the half marathon. Now this year I'm gonna have a lot more Disney races to pick from, so it's gonna be a lot tougher to pick a favorite Disney race next year. I was very curious to find out what other people's favorite races were, so I asked Meredith Rice what she thought.
What was your best race of 2019? I loved New York. And I PR'd in a local race. But my best race has to go to London. I have special ties to London, and it was my first full. I think it'll always have my heart. What was your best, most fun, memorable, proudest running moment of 2019? I think I'm gonna split this up, Arno. My best running moment of 2019 was, I hope this counts, was when my family was asking my niece what kind of sports she wanted to do when she got a little older. And they were throwing her out suggestions like basketball or soccer. And she said, no, I want to grow up and do Aunt D's sport. I'm known as Aunt D. And so she said she wants to be a runner. So that was really fun. But my most fun running moment of 2019 was running with friends, both in a race themed after Wonder Woman and the Shawshank Hustle, which I showed you the medal for. Running with your soulmates just brings a race to another level. So running with friends were my most fun running moments in 2019. I'm pretty much solo the rest of the time. My most memorable running moment of 2019 was probably after the New York City Marathon. I was in my poncho and I was hurting pretty badly. I was very tired. And I walked into my hotel with my parents, and everybody that was sitting there in the lounge stood up and started clapping. And I didn't cry crossing the finish line, but I got a little teary there. So I will always remember that moment. My proudest running moment of 2019 was when I officially became a marathoner, when I crossed the line of the London Marathon.
I also asked Jen what her favorite race was last year. Now, she was in the Best Medals video where she showed us the 10K medal that she got at Disney World. Now guess what her favorite race was?
Hey Arno, it is Gemma Forge here, and I'm so excited that you wanted me to participate in this video. Thank you so much. What was my best race of 2019? So I'm gonna go back to the 10K. Walt Disney World 10K, the weather was perfection. It was dry, it was cool. The 10K course has actually like a net downhill, and I did not realize that. And honestly, I felt like I flew through that race. Now, one of the reasons I was so well prepared is because I was trained for a half marathon. So when you're training for a half marathon, running a 10K feels really good. And I just showed up to the race that day, ready to go, very well trained, and had really the best race I've ever had at Walt Disney World. So definitely the 10K. Okay, the next question is, what was your best, most fun, memorable, proudest running moment of 2019? So for this, for kind of my most fun, let's go with the most fun, because I could answer all three of those, but it would be a very long answer, Arno, and I know you need this to be concise and precise. Americans, we just yammer on. I would say the most fun I had in 2019 was running the Walt Disney World half marathon with my friend Brooke. She and I have been friends online, but we've never actually met in person. And it was one of those just happenstance things where we happened to see each other on the morning of the half marathon. And she was doing dopey and was clearly having a really difficult morning. So I said, hey, do you want to start out together and see what happens? She runs at a similar pace to me. Or at least she did for that race because she was doing dopey. Normally, I think she's a little faster than me. But we just talked about everything. And if you've ever run a race with someone that you didn't know that well, and then by the end of the race, you feel like they're one of your closest friends. And that's what happened to Brooke and I during that race. So it was definitely my most fun and my most memorable race of 2019. That's all I've got. Thanks, Arno. I appreciate it. If you'd like to check out my channel, all of my running content is on my Joyful Living channel. All of my Disney content can be found on Jen LaForge, and I appreciate you having me on. Talk to you soon.
My most memorable moment of 2019 is kind of a tough one, but there's one that really stands out, and that is just running along the course, looking to my left and seeing a whole group of wildebeest just run by alongside the course. They actually went behind me and went across the course. Now, I'd seen plenty of wildebeest before, but at that moment during the race, that is why I wanted to run the Big 5 Marathon. It was so exciting, and it's a moment that I will never forget. My proudest moment of 2019 was probably at Disneyland Paris. A couple of people came up to me to thank me for my videos and for helping them with their training and with the training plan. Somebody actually came up to me and told me that I was the reason he was there, that he never thought he could run a half marathon, but because of me, he was actually there that weekend running a half marathon. So that was amazing to hear, and I loved meeting everybody and talking to everybody. All the people that came up to me to talk to me because they watched the videos. So that was just really amazing to me, and I really enjoyed that. My favorite video that I did last year, there were a couple, but I really enjoyed making the virtual Star Wars half marathon video. Running with Gert was a lot of fun, and putting in all the Star Wars footage. I just enjoyed that. But I think my favorite is a more recent one, the running Back to the Future video that I did. It's a very short video, but a lot of work went into that, a lot of planning. But I just really enjoyed Back to the Future, so I just wanted to have a little fun with that. So I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did. My favorite shoes of 2019 is a bit tricky because I really enjoyed running in my Adidas Solar Boost, and they were clearly my favorite shoes to run in, but I didn't buy them in 2019. I recently started running in the Nike Next Percent. I really loved running in those, but yeah, they're only really for races, and I'm not going to be wearing them a lot. Of course, the Nike Huaraches with the power laces, they are amazing, but they're not running shoes. So I guess my favorite new shoes of 2019 has to be the Nike Zoom Fly SPs. I really like the shoes, and I'm looking forward to running in them a lot in 2020. Okay, these were my favorites for 2019. Now it's time to make some new favorites for this year. I want to thank Jen LaForge, Meredith Rice for joining in this video. Make sure you check out their channels. I'll leave the links in the description down below. Now go make your own running memories and get out there and run.